Welcome to our deep dive. And today we're going to be looking into dreams.
Dreams.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think a lot of people listening have always kind of had that inkling that dreams are more than just random brain activity. And we're going to explore that concept today, drawing on a YouTube video from Transcend. And they blend some really interesting scientific research with some spiritual ideas about dreams.
Right.
So, hopefully by the end of this deep dive, you'll have a deeper understanding of dreams, the science, the mysteries, and maybe even some practical techniques for exploring your own dream world.
Yeah, that's right. We'll cover a lot of ground.
So let's start with, I think, something that's a really familiar feeling for people. Have you ever woken up from a dream so vivid it felt like you brought back a piece of another world?
Mm-hmm.
And just that incredible sense of reality is something we're going to try to unpack a little bit.
That's a great place to start. And, that feeling of realism, it is connected to what happens in our brains during REM sleep. Yeah. Essentially, our brain activity rivals wakefulness.
Wow.
The visual cortex is highly active.
Mm-hmm.
Emotions are running high, but rational thought kind of takes a back seat.
So that's kind of why things can feel so real, but then they can also be so illogical, right?
Yeah.
It's like, why is this happening? But if it's all just random neural activity, why do people across different cultures and times dream of similar things? Like oceans, spirals, beings of light. These images appear in dream accounts throughout history.
Mm-hmm. And that's where Carl Jung's concept of the collective unconscious comes in.
Okay.
He proposed that there's a universal pool of memories, symbols, and archetypes.
Right.
That we all tap into. And so that might explain those recurring dream themes that you mentioned.
So it's like a shared language of the soul in a way.
Right.
It's like everybody's tapping into this and expressing it through dreams. I'd love to know more about that. But what if dreams are more than just symbols? What if they're a way to actually communicate,
There was a fascinating experiment in the 1960s at Maimonides Medical Center in New York.
Okay.
That investigated. This researcher, Stanley Krippner, had volunteers try to mentally send images to people who were sleeping.
Wow.
And what's really intriguing is that many of the dreamers accurately described those images they had never seen before.
Wow. Are there other studies that support that concept, or is that kind of a one-off?
No.
Like, is there more evidence, or is this just one?
There have been other studies as well.
Okay.
That, maybe not as rigorous, but there have been other studies that also support this idea of what some people call dream telepathy.
Okay. Wow. And if dreams can connect minds across space, then what does that mean for how we understand time in the dream state? For example, there are accounts of people dreaming of future events.
Right.
Like Abraham Lincoln dreaming of his own assassination, or Mark Twain dreaming of his brother's death exactly as it happened days later.
Yeah.
How do we explain that?
These accounts, they certainly challenge our typical understanding of time.
Right.
However, the concept of retrocausality in physics, as proposed by physicist John Wheeler, suggests that time might not be a simple linear progression.
Right.
Perhaps future events could influence the past.
Whoa. So are you saying that time might be more fluid than we think, and dreams could be how we experience that fluidity?
It's a mind-bending concept.
It is.
But it does open up interesting possibilities.
Yeah.
Perhaps dreams allow us to access information that hasn't yet unfolded in our linear perception of time.
Okay.
So, for example, Rupert Sheldrake's idea of morphic resonance suggests that all information is stored in these things called morphogenetic fields. And these fields are accessible through resonance between organisms and thought pattern.
Okay, so instead of dreams being just personal projections, you're saying that they could be tapping into this universal information field, in essence, accessing realities that already exist but haven't played out in our physical world.
That's one theory. That's huge.
It's a big departure from the traditional view of dreams.
Right.
But it aligns with these reports of precognitive dreaming and shared dream experience.
Yeah.
It also begs the question, if dreams can connect us across time and space, can we control them?
Oh.
Can we wake up inside the dream and make conscious choices?
You're talking about lucid dreaming.
Exactly.
Has anyone proven that this is actually possible?
Well, neuroscientist Stephen LaBerge's research showed that lucid dreaming changes brain activity.
Okay.
He even developed techniques to induce it.
So what are the benefits of lucid dreaming? I mean, what can you do once you're aware you're dreaming?
Well, people who practice lucid dreaming, they report increased problem-solving skills, enhanced creativity, and even better emotional self-control.
Okay.
It's like training for mastering reality in both the dream world and waking life.
So I'm ready to learn how to do this. Are there techniques our listeners can try to have a lucid dream?
There are several, but here are 4 to get you started.
First, try reality checks throughout the day. Just look at your hands.
Okay.
They often look distorted in dreams. Keep a dream journal and write down your dreams as soon as you wake up. This helps train your brain to recognize dream signs.
That makes sense. What are the other 2?
Try the wake back to bed method, or WBTB.
Okay.
Wake up after 5 or 6 hours of sleep. Stay awake for a few minutes, then go back to sleep with the intention of becoming lucid.
Okay.
And lastly, try repeating affirmations before sleep. Something like, tonight I will realize I am dreaming. This primes your subconscious to become aware within the dream.
Those all sound pretty doable. I'm curious if we can train our minds to become aware within dream. Could we also program our waking reality?
You're onto something.
Okay.
What happens right before we fall asleep directly influences both our dreams and how we interpret our waking reality.
That twilight zone between wakefulness and sleep.
Yeah, the hypnagogic state.
Right.
Exactly. The brain is incredibly receptive that, geniuses like Tesla and Edison, they use this state for creative breakthrough.
So if they could do it, maybe we can too. What are some things that we can do before bed to program our subconscious for a better life?
Nighttime affirmations are powerful.
Okay.
Repeating phrases like, my mind is open to answers, or I wake up with clarity and purpose, can set a positive tone for your dreams and waking experiences.
I like that. What else?
Try directed visualization. Vividly imagine yourself living the reality you want to create.
Oh, okay.
And those images, they can seep into your subconscious.
It's like planting seeds for your dreams in your life to grow from any other tip.
Before you drift off to sleep, try asking your subconscious questions like, what's my next step? Or how can I solve this? Your subconscious mind might surprise you with the answers.
Yeah.
And don't forget to keep that dream journal close by and analyze the symbols and emotions in your dreams.
Right.
See if you notice any connections between your bedtime thoughts and your waking experiences.
Okay, so we've gone from the science of REM sleep to lucid dreaming to programming our reality. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
But what if dreams are more than just personal experiences?
Right.
What if they're windows into other realities, dimensions, coexisting with ours, but only accessible when our minds are free from our physical body?
That brings us to some truly mind-blowing concepts.
Right.
Spiritual traditions like shamanism and the Tibetan Book of the Dead view dreams as real soul journeys or preparations for navigating spiritual realms.
Whoa, so dreams as portals to other dimensions, what does that look like?
Robert Monroe, a pioneer in astral projection. He described experiences where his consciousness seemed to leave his body and travel to places that felt independent of his subconscious. And then there's the concept of the astral plane, a dimension beyond the physical where thoughts and emotions instantly manifest.
Wow.
And let's not forget shared dreams, where people miles apart experience the exact same dream.
Okay, now we're talking, this all sounds incredibly wild, but could there be a scientific basis for these experiences?
Well, there are some quantum physics theories
that
suggest consciousness might not be confined to the brain, but instead exists as an information field that transcends matter.
Okay, so our consciousness is something much bigger than we typically think.
Yeah.
And if that's true, what does it mean for how we understand dream?
Well, if consciousness isn't limited to the brain,
right,
it opens up a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
Dreams might not just be internal experiences, but interactions with other consciousnesses, dimensions, and parallel realities.
Hold on a second. We've gone from dream interpretation to quantum consciousness.
It's fascinating, though, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. What are your thoughts on all of this? I mean, like, what resonates most with you right now?
The idea that dreams might be so much more than we realize.
Right.
Not just reflections of our inner world,
yeah,
but potential glimpses into other realities and sources of information.
That is a great takeaway, but what if we're all living in a dream we just haven't woken up from yet?
That is a question worth pondering.
It is. But the real question is what possibilities might open up if we learn to navigate the dream world with awareness?
That's a great question to consider as we move into part 2 of this deep dive.
Okay, stay tuned, folks. We'll be back with part 2.
See ya.
Shortly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of dreams. So far, we've explored the science of REM sleep, the concept of the collective unconscious, the possibility of dream telepathy, and even techniques for inducing lucid dreaming.
That's right.
And last we left off, we were discussing the mind-blowing idea that dreams might be portals to other realities.
Right.
Specifically dimensions that exist alongside ours, but are only accessible when our minds are free from our physical bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's what I'd love to unpack back further. You mentioned spiritual traditions like shamanism and the Tibetan Book of the Dead view dreams this way. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. So in shamanism, dreams aren't just symbolic. They're considered real journeys where the dreamer's soul can interact with spiritual guides and receive teachings from other realms.
Oh, okay.
Similarly, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which is one of the oldest scriptures on the transition of consciousness,
right,
teaches that learning to navigate the dream state is essential for navigating the spiritual realms after death.
It's not just about having interesting dreams. It's about using them as a tool for expanding consciousness.
Right.
You also mentioned Robert Monroe, who dedicated his life to studying out-of-body experiences.
Yeah.
What were his experiences like?
Well, Robert Monroe, he founded the Monroe Institute and documented countless experiences where his consciousness seemed to detach from his physical body. He described traveling to other realms, places that felt completely independent of his imagination or subconscious mind.
I'm curious, do these accounts of out-of-body experiences and dream journeys relate to the concept of the astral plane?
Many people believe, so the astral plane is thought of as a dimension beyond the physical world where thoughts and emotions instantly manifest. And a lot of the reports from advanced lucid dreamers describe encountering environments in their dreams that have their own rules.
Right.
With landscapes, beings, and events that seem to exist separately from the dreamer.
It's like our inner world becomes the outer world.
Right.
But is there a scientific basis for the concept of the astral plane, or is it solely a spirit?
Well, that's where quantum physics comes into play.
Okay.
Some theories suggest that consciousness isn't just a product of our physical brains, but rather an information field that transcends matter.
So our consciousness is something much bigger than we typically think.
It could be.
And if that's true, what does it mean for how we understand dreams?
Well, if consciousness isn't limited to the brain,
right,
it opens up a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
Dreams might not just be internal experiences, but interactions with other consciousness dimensions and parallel reality.
Could that explain phenomena like shared dreams, where two or more people experience the same dream even when they're miles apart?
That's one possibility. Shared dreams are difficult to explain if we assume dreams are just personal projections.
Right.
But if we consider that consciousness can interact with a larger field of information,
right,
shared dreams start to make more sense.
I'm trying to wrap my head around all of this. If our consciousness can travel during sleep, what else might it be capable of? What are other researchers exploring in this area?
It's a question that has fascinated mystics, mediums, and researchers of out-of-body experiences for ages.
Right.
They're trying to understand how we might direct this experience.
Right.
How to access knowledge and information that could change our perception of reality.
If we could tap into this expanded consciousness, it would have huge implications for our understanding of ourselves, the universe, and everything in between. This is all incredibly exciting and a little bit daunting at the same time.
I think it's a time of great exploration and discovery in the realm of consciousness.
Right.
And the more we learn about dreams, the more we realize how much we still don't know. There's so much to uncover.
It feels like we're only scratching the surface.
Yeah.
If dreams can be portals to other realities, does that mean our waking reality might also be a kind of dream?
That's a question that philosophers and spiritual teachers have contemplated for millennia.
Yeah.
It's a concept known as Maya in Eastern philosophy.
Okay.
The idea that the material world is an illusion.
So how do we wake up from this dream? How do we see through the illusion?
That's the journey of self-discovery.
Right.
It's a process of cultivating awareness, questioning our assumption, and exploring the depths of our own consciousness.
It sounds like a lifelong adventure. Where do we begin?
I think it starts with acknowledging the power and potential of our dreams.
Okay.
The more we awaken to the possibilities within our dreams,
right,
the more we realize that the real dream is the one we're living right now.
And that we have the ability to shape this dream, to create a reality that aligns with our deepest aspirations. Let's continue exploring this in part 3 of our deep dive, where we'll delve into practical tips for unlocking the transformative potential of our dream. Welcome back to our deep dive into dream. We've explored a lot of fascinating territory so far, from the science of sleep to the mind-bending concept that our waking reality might be a kind of dream.
It's been quite a journey. And this last part, I'd love to shift our focus to the practical side of things. How can we actually work with our dreams to unlock their transformative potential?
That's a great question. It feels like we've laid the groundwork for understanding why dreams matter. Now I'm ready to hear about how to actively engage with them.
Well, the foundation of any dream practice is simply paying attention to your dream.
I know it sounds so basic, but I have to admit, remembering my dreams has always been a challenge for me. Any tips for improving dream recall?
Well, we touched on some techniques earlier, like keeping a dream journal by your bedside and writing down anything you remember as soon as you wake up, even if it's just a fragment or a feeling.
Right. And those reality checks you mentioned, the idea of regularly asking yourself, am I dreaming throughout the day?
Exactly. Reality checks are a great way to increase your dream awareness both during the day and at night. The more you question whether you're dreaming or awake, the more likely you are to become lucid within a dream.
It's like building a bridge between our waking and dreaming consciousness. Are there other practices that can help us become more aware in our dreams?
Setting an intention before you fall asleep can be a powerful tool.
So if I want to have a lucid dream, I could say to myself, tonight, I'm going to realize I'm dreaming, or something along those lines.
Precisely. Or if you're seeking guidance on a particular issue, you could phrase your intention as a question like, what's the best way to approach this problem? Or what do I need to know right now?
It's like giving our subconscious mind an assignment to work on while we sleep.
That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
The key is to be specific and heartfelt with your intention, and to remember that dreams often communicate in symbols and metaphors.
So after we wake up, we need to take time to reflect on the dreams we remember. Look for any connections to our waking lives and see if any insights emerge.
Exactly. It's like having a conversation with our inner wisdom.
You mentioned that dreams can be helpful for processing them and working through unresolved conflicts. How does that work?
Dreams provide a safe space to explore our fears and shadows. In the dream, we can confront challenging emotions without the constraints of our waking ego.
It sounds like we have a built-in therapist within our own mind.
In a way, yes. And sometimes our dreams offer solutions or insights that we might not have considered in our waking mind. Even if a dream seems illogical or bizarre, it might hold a profound truth for our waking life.
It makes me want to dust off my old dream journal and start paying attention to my dreams with a fresh perspective. This has been incredibly insightful. But before we wrap up, I have one last question. We've talked a lot about the individual benefit and work, but do you think dreams might also play a role in our collective evolution?
That's a fascinating question. There are researchers who believe that dreams might tap into a collective consciousness, connecting us to a larger web of awareness.
So not only can we access our own inner wisdom through dreams, but we might also be tuning into a universal knowledge.
It's a possibility. It's like we're all part of a giant dream network, sharing information and insights on a subconscious level. Imagine the potential if we all started paying attention to our dreams and sharing those insights with each other.
That's a beautiful thought and a wonderful note to end on. Thank you so much for guiding us through this deep dive into the world.
It's been my pleasure. I encourage everyone listening to embark on their own dream exploration. Keep a journal practice, lucid dreaming, set intentions, and see what unfolds. The more we awaken to the mysteries of the dream realm, the more we realize that the real dream is the one we're living right now.
Beautifully said. So to all our listeners, sweet dreams and happy